The following program is rated TV MA LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
This is a Fellow Fanatix production.
What's up and what's going on, everyone? I just wanted to come on this morning and kind of discuss the video that we did over Xmen 97 a couple days ago. If you were in our live stream a few days ago, we discussed Xmen 97. We watched the trailer because we didn't get to watch it on its original drop date. We finally got together a few days ago and watched that trailer, and we discussed the changes that Marvel Studios and company made to Morph by making him non-binary. Now, if you watched that video or you watched that live stream, you would have known that my co-host and myself did nothing but defend Marvel's decision to make Morph non-binary. We were actually going against the people calling it woke. We were going against the people calling it this or that. As I've said many times on my channel, there is no place for bigotry. There's no place for you to come on, and I will block you myself. And if you want to block me now, that is all fine. If you don't like what I'm saying, please exit from this video and block me from your view, your algorithm, or whatever it may be. And I will likewise do the same to you. I have no place for bigotry on my channel. I cannot look at a certain group or look at a certain decision and deem it woke. Again, as I said, if you watched our live stream, you're also still using that word incorrectly, but that's a totally different conversation for a totally different time. What I wanted to come on today and address was all the comments, and when I say this, I normally on my channel will say I don't address comments. I'm not going to go back and forth and argue with you, and I'm not arguing with you now. I just want to state facts before we start coming in here saying things that aren't true. There are so many people coming into the comment section of this video, coming in with misinformation, coming in misinformed, coming in confidently thinking that you know what you're talking about, but in reality, you really don't. I've talked about this before as well. Let's start here. The misnomer that Professor X and Magneto are based off of Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King is wrong. I'm so sorry that whoever told you that, and maybe you ran with that, but that's wrong. When Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the X-Men, it wasn't something that they sat down and said to themselves, you know, we're looking at everything going on in the 60s right now in the civil rights era, and we want to make some characters akin to that. No. That's where you get T'Challa. But again, that's a whole nother conversation. That wasn't the X-Men, and that's something that I'm going to play the clip here in a minute. I meant to play this during that video, and maybe it would have put a lot of these comments to rest then, but I'm glad I have the opportunity to do it now. I'm going to play that clip so that everybody can hear what Stan Lee himself had to say when it came to this topic. But before we get to what he had to say, I do want to read some of the comments that have been hurled at myself and my co-host, or maybe more so just myself. But let's go over these really quickly, and I'll give your names. We have actually. Let's just start here. I'm only gonna do this one. I'm not gonna do several. I had a comment that said, first of all, Xmen 97 is a new episode. The original aired in 1992. Stan Lee had civil rights in mind when creating the X-Men, but not Dr. King and Malcolm X specifically. The X-Men parallel the LGBTQ community a lot as it does the Black and Hispanic communities. Stop saying woke. X-Men is relevant and grounded in real issues that speak to anyone the society cast off and look down on. Okay, and my reply to this was, and I'll read my reply. I said, you would be wrong, and I'm going to, again, elaborate on everything I'm saying. You would be wrong in thinking that Stan Lee had civil rights in mind. I encourage you to look up what he himself said about that when asked. The parallels you see when with the X-Men and real life are not by the design of Stan Lee. Once more, in the same interview, when asked about the LGBTQ community, the response was no, I didn't have any of that in mind. Look up the interview for yourself, but you don't have to do that because I'm going to play it for you, but just give me a moment. Then he goes on to say, furthermore, I said, I'm not the one calling X-Men woke. That's the internet. If you actually took the time to watch this video before ignorantly commenting so confidently, you might have known that I'm defending X-Men 97's reboot and their decision to make Morph non-binary. Lastly, I don't need you to tell me when X-Men aired. I'm a 90s kid. I was there when it happened. So, as I've said many times before, when you guys come into spaces, when you come into these comment sections so high off of things that you've read on the internet, things that and a lot of these arguments are recycled arguments you're using. These are things that you've previously seen someone say on the internet. You're recycling that, and now you're coming into a comment section thinking that you're so wise and knowledgeable on a topic, but really you're not. You come in so hot and you come in so confident, but it's filled with ignorance. None of you really truly know what you're talking about unless you grew up in these spaces. Unless if this space was introduced to you by the MCU, pause, go take a seat. This conversation's not for you, I'm sorry. And the reason I say that is simply because a lot of MCU fans, or a lot of people that just go on the internet, or just Marvel fans in general, that aren't the real hardcore Marvel fans. And I don't want to make that distinction and say that you're not a Marvel fan, because you still are. Just because you were introduced to Marvel through the MCU does not then make you less than a Marvel fan. You are still a Marvel fan. I'm not taking that away from you. What I'm saying is there are Marvel fans that have been here, and there are Marvel fans that are new here. And for those of us that have been here, we know the stories. We know the background. We've done the research. We know the lore. I was a 90s kid watching this. I woke up every Saturday morning to watch this and Spider-Man, the 90s series. Don't tell me I don't need you to try to preach to me about what 97 or what Xmen stand. I read the comics. I was there with you reading the same thing, so I understand that. But let's go ahead here and let's see what Stan Lee himself had to say when it came to that. I'm sorry, but before I get to that, I do want to say this. You coming in saying that the LGBTQ community is a parallel of the X-Men. As in today, yes, you can say that. As the story started going, you can make parallels. You can see similarities, and not just in the X-Men. You can take any superhero movie or any movie in general, and you can see parallels to certain things that have happened in reality or whatever. You can do that with anything. And that's the same thing with the X-Men. It's the exact same thing. You can see those parallels, but at the end of the day, when he sat down to create these characters, that wasn't the design. The design was not civil rights. The design was not to be paralleled with the LGBTQ community. That was not the design. The design was simply to make a group of heroes that aren't particularly liked by the world. Boom. That's really what it was. And then from there, it expanded. And then it expanded even more in the Claremont era, when Claremont took over the X-Men issues and started adding the Jewish Holocaust things in there. That's when you started. It was more akin to the Jewish Holocaust things going on with Claremont than it was with civil rights. It had nothing to do with that. You want a civil rights story? Go look up Blue Marvel. Go look up Blue Marvel when the United States made Blue Marvel stop being Blue Marvel because they couldn't have a colored man running around in a suit super powered. You want a civil rights story? There's your civil rights story. It ain't in the X-Men 97. It ain't in X-Men. So I want to put this and now I want to rewind on that. Again, if you expand it to where we currently are, if you expand it to where the X-Men have gone, there are those parallels. But at the end of the day, that wasn't the design. So let's not listen to me anymore talk about it. Let's hear what Stan Lee himself had to say when it comes to this issue.
There are things like that people catch that you may not have even known that you were putting in there. But
you
obviously...
are so right. Now take the X-Men. I was just originally trying to get an interesting group of characters with interesting powers, and I thought it would make it twice as interesting if the public really didn't like them that much. And if they had to worry about their reception by the outside world, little by little, I began getting mail saying how great it is that I'm doing these stories about bigotry and the evils of bigotry and so forth, and race hatred. And I guess I was doing that, but I was doing it subconsciously. That wasn't the main purpose.
So, as you just heard there, Stan Lee said, I was doing it subconsciously. That wasn't the main purpose. So once again, I honestly, I really just wanted to come on here, and I'm going to play one more thing he said. I really just wanted to come on here and just kind of put some of the comments that you guys are coming in so hot and confident on to rest. Before you come in, so and this, and not just on my channel, on any topic, before you come in so hot, so confident, make sure you know what the fuck you are talking about. Make sure you know what's going on. If you are entering these spaces and you don't know what you're talking about, you make yourself look ignorant. And so for all of you that have been in these comments, for all of you that have been coming at me saying that we're just using woke as clickbait or anything like that, you clearly did not watch this video. We are not calling this show woke. We don't even use the word woke over here because again, as I said for another time, for another video, you're using the word incorrectly. But that's another time in another video. That's not our MO over here. We're not over here trying to clickbait. As I said in my comments, I'm not Willy Wonka. I don't need to sugarcoat shit. I don't need to use clickbait for you to come to my channel. Either you do or you don't. I'm happy either way. What I'm not going to do though is sit here and let you all come into these comment sections and spit what you deem as fact, but it's not. It's not. That's from the horse's mouth. So that should honestly put it to rest. There should be no other comments saying, well, but no, that puts it to rest. That's from the horse's mouth. So we'll hear one more thing Stan Lee had to say about it. Then we'll close this topic for good here. This is the last thing that Stan Lee had to say about this.
And when the X-Men enjoyed its reincarnation on film, there was a lot of talk about how this was really the story of homophobia.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
And that was not what wasn't part of the original blueprint.
No, it was the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
There you hear it right there. It was the furthest thing from his mind. So so when you come in and saying that's what it is, that's what Stan Lee was doing, you're this, you're that, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's not what Stan Lee was doing. But again, your mileage may vary. If that's what you feel, that's great. But don't come into these comment sections calling people out of their names or calling them liars or saying that they're wrong or saying that they're bigots or they're this or that when you don't know the facts yourself and you haven't even watched the video of us defending the show. So I just wanted to come on here for the sake of my co-host, myself, and this channel and kind of just put that shit to rest. We're not bashing 97. I'm a 97's fan. I'm an X-Men fan. I appreciate everybody coming back and listening to this. Again, if you're new here, if you didn't like what I had to say, fuck off. I really don't care. But like, subscribe, share with your friends. And as always, I will see all of you in the next video.